Yeah. Oh, I'll take the bottom one, thank you. The Happy Years! The Happy Years 1950. I don't know if you can see it. Forget it. We'll do something here. The Happy Years. Okay, so this is a Dean Stockwell film. And since I watched everything Dean Stockwell I could get my hands on for the last 35 years. Not 35 years. 30-ish years, because I'm a Quantum Leap fan, so what can you do? I mean, right, Dean Stockwell. Okay, I must gush. Because, in 1989, Dean was cast in Quantum Leap. And, of course, Quantum Leap, awesome, totally awesome, unlike any other sci-fi show ever. It's a little bit debate whether it is sci-fi, but at that time it's more sci-fi, the current one. But I so digress. Maybe I'll get back to Happy Years, I don't know. But Dean was like, he was the guy who had the rumors in between all the fans, because we're of course talking to each other and we're trying to get all the things he ever did on videotape. Yes, videotape. Are you as old as me? Thank you very much. I'm 51. Anyway, so trying to get everything, record off television, get tapes, send them to each other. It's like, and then somebody approached his agent. I just heard through the grapevine. Approached his agent. Is like, can we please have a list of everything Dean has ever done? And the agent said, even Dean does not have the list of everything he's ever done. So yeah, that was quite a search. And one of the things was Happy Years. And one of the nice things about the Happy Years is that it's in color. Because he did a lot of black and whites, and they're also very good. But this was the one in the prep school.
How old is he here?
So he would be 12 here. I believe Dean was born in 1938. Please let me be right. But I think so. Because Al Calavici in the show was 2 years older. He was 36, so it always made it very confusing to me. They were very specific about their dates and times. One of the nice things about Quantum Leap. If you want to watch Quantum Leap, let's talk. But anyway.
In another video.
Another video I will gush about Quantum Leap. Tell me which episode to gush about, because they'll be really lots of fun. Anyway, yeah, this is a G-rated, directed by a William A. Wellman. Never heard of him. I have no idea what else he did. I'm sorry. I apologize to whoever appreciates him. So the thing is, I'm reading here in the blurb that I was just given, is that it's actually about a collection of stories about this Dick Stover at Lawrenceville Preparatory School in 1896. So one of the things that I took away from this movie, yes, start at the end, great, is a lot of young men of good, solidly, well-to-do background, are actually just sent off to school between the ages of, let's call it, 8 and 18. And after that, they go to university. So, and that you see that so well in this thing, because he gets sent off to school. I think it's like his third or fourth school, because he's very good at misbehaving. And he basically breaks everybody, and this he ends up in this school. And this school, they got a couple of harder nuts to crack. And it's lots of hijinks, lots of adventures with the boys. And there's one teacher who is Leo G Carroll as the old Roman, because he's the Latin teacher. There's a whole thing about Latin in this thing, which is great because they would never make it now. And I went to what's, kind of like grammar school. And I had Latin and Greek. So you're going, I get you. I understand what's going on here. Because they need to learn the difference between the gerund and the gerundive. It's a little bit in Dutch Latin school. It's a little bit different pronunciation. So I'm doing this from memory and I'm pretty sure I'm right. But there is a difference between those two. And
Don't tell us. Do not tell us.
I can explain the grammar in Dutch terminology, but English has me stumped at this moment.
And that's something for another channel.
Yes, let's do that on a different channel. If you would like me to explain grammar to you, I can. But so they need to learn that, and I'll tell you one of the hijinks that they get on. There's this kid in his group that always knows them. He understands Latin, and he doesn't want to learn the Latin. Dickie Stover. He doesn't want to learn it, and he doesn't want to spend the time. He just wants to run around, and he wants to do football, and he's like young Dean Stockwell. He's this fairly small.
Powerhouse.
He's very strong, but he's just small compared to the other kids. And he's like, I'm getting in there, and most of the kids are taller than he is. And it's like, yeah, a scrappy young lad. I could totally see that. I mean, the whole thing comes across as yes. If you live in the world of boys, because that's it. You're entering with this movie. You enter the world of boys. And the world of boys around the turn of the century, slightly before 1900. I mean, literally. So that's not a world I was in. But then, they take you along, and I think that's. I don't know this set of stories. I'm sure they're very entertaining, because watching the movie, you go, yeah, that's going to be a fun kids book, young teens book. 10 through 14-year-old kind of thing, if that's what that is. At the time, I never even thought about looking what this movie might be about and how it was, what the background of it was. So
you were going to see it anyway, because Dean is in it.
Yeah. You want to watch Dean? No, he's so good. Watch Kim with Dean Stockwell and Errol Flynn, yes. Where they both have credit before the title, because it's, Errol Flynn. And they're really both worth watching, but Dean has the lead.
So is this one worth watching? If you're not a Dean...
Totally worth watching.
No,
it's fun. No, even if you're not a Dean fan, you do have to like the kid goes to school and learns about life thing, but it's not preachy at all. There's a scene where, later on in the movie, where he goes to the old Roman. Well, the old Roman just has him in his private chambers. No, nothing hinky. Just private chambers, and it's like having a nice manly heart-to-heart with, like, he's now a year older, and what does he learn? And he's going, and the teacher says, now that you've got yourself together, and you're a bit of a leader now in your house, and there's all these houses and things, just like Harry Potter, and it's like, yeah, there's a couple of boys there that need I don't know,
help.
Yeah, they need straightening out. That would be the term. And it's like, no, so and so, that's no problem. And then it's like, yeah, but what about this other kid? And it's like, no, okay, yeah, that's fine. We'll make it work. And then he said, yeah, but this is one kid, and I don't think you can
fix it.
It's just too far gone. And says the name of the kid, and then Dickie he reacts like, what, that one? No, he's lost cause again. It's like. And then teacher says something like, I'm not paraphrasing it. I mean, I'm paraphrasing to the point that this is just what I remember from watching it 25 years ago. Is that he says, like you were when you got here. And then he's like, aha. And that's actually, I suppose that's the only preachy thing in the thing, but it really showed the kid learning that he is learning. And that, I think, is an interesting statement. There's lots of football matches, American football, no padding, because 1900 or 1890s, and then for me as a young woman at the time, is like watching. Then he goes home at the end of the school year. It's like, what? Did these kids never go home? They don't go home in the weekend? What are they? Is boys' school? So there's like literally the parents just send him off and go about their merry way, and they don't care about the kid until summer. And in here in the description I see it's already talking about, he goes home in the summer. It's like, what? And then he in the first scene is he's at home because he was sent home by the previous school. And there's this young girl walks past. It's like, oh jeez, young girls, And then he, the whole story happens. He gets sent off to the new school. He's okay. It works out fine, and he learns the gerund and the gerundive. He learns it by osmosis, because one time the kid that he's got this, it's like there's an ear wiggle going on, and the teacher's asking, is it a gerund or a gerundive? And it's like, and he looks, and then it's like, wiggle, okay, it's a gerundive. But they had practiced so long that one time the kid wasn't in the class. and because the kid wasn't in the class, he's like, is it a gerund? Yeah, teacher says it's fine. And the next one, is that a gerundive? Yeah. And the next one. And he got them all right, and he's like, wow, I learned them because we practiced so much. Hey, point!
They practiced cheating so much that he learned it.
Yes, he practiced the cheating. And you can actually learn the gerund and the gerund, tell them apart. It is possible. It's not like it's impossible, but they look a little bit alike, and the names are a bit the same. It's like, it's one of those catch me out things for poor little kids that need to learn Latin and are wondering why they are learning Latin. But they'll never forget that there are gerunds and gerundives. Anyway, so he goes home at the end of the movie, and then this girl walks by. For all I know, it's the same girl, but I wasn't paying attention at the beginning of the movie to the girl. I was watching Dean. But, and the girl walks by, and he sees her, and instead of like, girls, he suddenly has this, hey, girls. And that, it's a great callback. It shows a lot about how they think boys should grow up, because, hey, he could have also been gay. I'm just saying.
Yeah, not in those days.
Not in that movie. But for me, it was also like, it really ramped down the fact that he lives in a boy world. A male world. They ship him off. There's male teachers. There's not a woman on site. They can run into town on their off time. But that really didn't involve girls or women. I suppose in the next school year he might start, because he was like, whoa, wait, and hormones are kicking in, so that might be the next step for these boys.
He still doesn't have them in school, and he also has no motherly figure in school either.
Zero, there's nothing there. But maybe once they turn 14, 15, 16, certainly at 15 I would expect that they would have sister schools and they would have dances, because otherwise it gets a little, what...
One-sided socialization.
Yeah, it's not good. So I'm not a fan of this, just mix them. That's what I'm thinking. But
I don't suppose this movie says anything about having a boys' school like that. It's just happy.
No, it is very positive about it, because this school, but it's about having a good teacher, giving the boys a chance, that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit Father O'Flannery kind of thing.
So you have to be lucky to be in a school like that and actually have a good teacher, and then you're lucky, and then
And maybe that's what it's not saying. It's specifically not saying what happened in the previous schools. Maybe it says briefly, descriptively what he did, but what it's omitting is, what were those teachers? Why was he acting out so much? Because he's a nice kid, and he has a nice group of kids, and they have characters. I like it. All the kids are great. They've got and they all have nicknames. You know, he's his dink, because his name is John Humperdinck Stover, so what you gonna do? It's, you know, then they completely roast him over the coals at the beginning with that. And then there's this one guy, it's called Tough, the other one's called Tennessee, and that's and they are Scotty Beckett and Daryl Hickman. You will know them if you see them in movies of that era. You will know that you've seen them. It's just that it's Scotty Beckett. I happen to remember the name because it is so close to Sam Beckett and Scott Bakula. You know, I can not remember. But there's some of these kids are like the Hollywood boys in 1950 that were good actors, and they just put them all in this movie.
Because there weren't that many altogether.
It's very hard, yeah.
It's very hard to be an actually good actor. To be an okay actor is not that hard. But to be a good actor, there's not that many who are really good. And Dean was one of the best.
Dean could carry this movie, and I've seen Scotty Beckett in other things. He can carry a movie. But Dean, and I didn't see Scotty Beckett's career. I didn't watch specifically other movies of his, but I did watch a whole bunch of Dean's. And he did things, he did 2 movies earlier than this that had him speaking in a British accent. And you can hear that he's an American boy speaking in a British accent. But he actually did better than the American actor who was his guardian in that movie, speaking in a British accent. So it's like he was good at these things.
Yeah, they weren't very particularly... other than it has to sound vaguely in the other language or the other accent. Yeah. They weren't very particular about it. So.
But they must have had some diction coaches on the set.
Maybe because Dean has just a good ear.
Oh, he does. It's like he's done a few movies later on in his middle career when he was in his late 20s. He did a bunch of movies, one of which was also with an English accent, but he did at least 2 movies as a young boy. And I was highly impressed. You know what? Yeah, you can't expect that from your average actor. So I'm not surprised that they try to put him in single thing. And of course, also in the Secret Garden.
Yeah,
you know.
I think at the time he may have been the only leadable actor of that age because
who looked young enough. Yeah.
Yeah, Bartholomew.
Yeah.
What's his name?
He's
a little older.
Yeah.
And so he did the Captain's Courageous and all these things. And
so did Dean. Dean did a Western Captain's Courageous, which had different names. So when I watched it, I was surprised that it was actually Captain's Courageous, and it was done very well. But yeah, he was about 5 years younger than this Bartholomew that I remember him as well.
Yeah, and he was British, but your kids age out, and
and the thing with Dean is he was still quite small. Yeah. He remained not a tall actor, and his big breakthrough was with Married to the Mob, which was he was in his early 50s, I think.
No, but he was famous in Hollywood. He was broken through in Hollywood.
Yeah,
when
he had 3 careers. He had the kid career at MGM. Then he had in his 20s. He did a couple of movies. One with Long Day's Journey into Night, with Katherine Hepburn, and a couple of very important people. But he did these very tragic big movies. It's the one called Compulsion. Very important because he did Compulsion on stage. With the other actor who was his partner there. There was two men, and this is the story of the 2 young men who went out. They were so rich that they thought they were untouchable, and they went out and did a murder because they could. And they, in real life, they were gay. And on the stage, in the early 60s, they couldn't really do that. And then they put the whole thing with an Orson Wells as their attorney on widescreen black and white film. It's a beautifully filmed film. But the thing with it is that you can see that Dean is playing gay. Not mannerism, but he is in love with the other guy. And the other guy, you don't see it. And I don't know, maybe that was the case. But, so that, yeah. So, this is a 1950s film. It was made in color. I saw it in really, really, really crap color. Because, like I said, I was recording things off television. I might have seen it. If I was lucky, I saw it on the BBC. which would have been a little bit more cleaner copy than usually what we got. But I don't think so. And I remember it as the colors were really that faded 1950s. So what I'm hoping for is when you go watch this movie, that there's a restored version out there. That would be great because it's worth restoring. I think it's historically interesting. You got this whole cast of young boys. You got the way of storytelling. It's after a set of stories from probably way, way, way back. It's a 1950s look at 1900. And they do a reasonable job. Very recognizable. The few times that you see women in their normal garbs, it is very much like Gigi. You know, that kind of, and the big polka dots and big skirts and stuff. So that would pop more off the screen. The most of the movie, 90% of the movie, is not that. It's just boys wearing your average boy clothes. In school, they wear decent, neat clothes and
uniform.
And probably school uniform, and probably nice colors. But I can't really remember them. So probably if they're colors, it would be dark, like maybe dark burgundy or something.
Dark green or navy blue. It's not going to be very interesting.
And one of the things is also worth watching for is the football games. So if you're into football, you should watch it. If you're into like this set of young actors, you should watch it. The storytelling itself, like, you know, apparently it's after a book. Well, if you're into seeing how books are filmed, and also if it's a set of stories and that they managed to make a movie out of it. And I think that's actually why the movie is still good, because there's more than one storyline. It's like, okay, you have this happens. It's like the Railway Children, you know. It's you have not, you know, obviously not Railway Children, but it's you have something happens and then that closes down. And then something else happens and closes down, but there's also an overall story, and that makes it from a modern perspective still a very watchable movie and enjoyable. And it's any age. It's just G-rated, so you know, G-rated. It's 1950. Why wouldn't it be G-rated?
Not saccharine.
No, it's not saccharine at all. There is syrup. There's stacks of pancakes and syrup. You remember that syrup? Yeah. So there's this pancake eating contest. I won't tell you who won. But yeah, it's lots of hijinks goes on. It's just worth it. It's fun, good. It's good stuff, but it's not fluff. It's not a fluff piece. And that's all you can ask for from a good movie that's family friendly, and from the 1950s. The only thing I ask for is a nice clean remaster. I'm sure it's out there now. I mean, I never looked at the DVDs, and if you're lucky, there's Blu-ray or streaming media HD. Hey, it could be out there. It's MGM. It's usually MGM with Dean Stockwell. He was under contract to MGM, and I believe MGM is now, you know, all on streaming media.
If they have a clean print of it, they can very easily put it on
film. You can always clean it up.
Yeah, but that costs money. And if they have a clean print and transferring it is easy enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd recommend it. And that was fun revisiting the happy years. And I mean, every once in a while I think about that movie because it was just a good romp. I should rewatch it. But I think it also shows how much I remember of that movie. I probably saw it 2-3 times back in the 90s. And, you know, I remember it really well. So it's good. It's fun. So that's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it.